Alright, this should be a fun video. So today I'm going to be addressing a topic that I have been wanting to talk about for years, but I have just never gotten around to it, and that is social anxiety. This story actually begins a couple days ago when I went to the housewarming party of one of Esther's old coworkers. You know, I wasn't really too concerned about this one, because there weren't even really that many people there, because there's a virus and everyone's scared of getting infected. So I didn't really think of it as being a big deal at first, but as soon as we opened the door and walked in, I did not know a single person there, and I just got absolutely steamrolled by social anxiety. Oh crap, who are these people? What do I say? What am I supposed to do right now? Help me, please. I have no idea what I'm doing. And at first I was confused because it was what the heck? What is going on? I haven't had this problem in such a long time. And then I remembered wow, I actually haven't been to a party in 2 months because of this virus. So during that time, I had completely forgotten that, oh yeah, I have social anxiety. I'm terrified of talking to strangers. So there I was, back at another party, once again kind of hiding in the corner. So as I sat there just observing this crowd of people, hoping they can't observe the fear in my eyes, I thought to myself, why am I even having this problem right now? Am I not the kid who made the video about overcoming literally this problem? And also, I'm a freaking YouTuber with a bunch of subscribers. Why am I scared of the 10 people in this room if I can instantly turn around and make a video that thousands of people are gonna see it in the first day? So 30 minutes into the party, I basically hadn't said anything to anyone, but I was having a very vibrant and detailed conversation with myself in my head. The internal monologue right then was crazy. In my head, there were hundreds of voices that were contradicting each other, and a lot of them were panicking, and a lot of them were trying to calm the other ones down. But then I started to realize that one of those voices was rising above all the others, and it was the YouTube voice. My internal monologue with myself in my head was literally a YouTube commentary talking to you guys about what I was feeling. And it's what the heck? I am such a YouTuber. But I kept thinking about it and I kept monologuing, and I realized the root of my social anxiety isn't exactly the fact that I'm afraid of talking. It's more rooted in uncertainty. So if I have a logical, specific goal in my interaction with someone, then I'm not going to be nervous at all. If I go into a social situation with a goal in mind or a purpose, or we have to have a meeting and figure something out, then I'm good. That's not scary at all. But the minute there's no real discernible logical focus, like a party or just random groups of friends talking, my social anxiety is pretty bad. But on the plus side, if I have a job interview, I will pretty much destroy that job interview. I'm so good at job interviews for some reason. Now, granted, I've only actually had 3 job interviews in my life, and one of them was my helper interview, so I don't know if we want to count that one, but I pretty much crushed all the job interviews that I've been to. So anyway, after going on a lot of tangents like that, I kind of went back to the initial thing about what the heck is this social anxiety? And I had this epiphany hey, I'm having an internal monologue in the form of a YouTube video. Why not make the literal monologue that I'm having right now into an actual video? So naturally, since you're watching this, that's obviously what I did. But before I could make the video, I had to write down my ideas. So I pulled out my phone, in the middle of this party, and, no one was talking to me anyway, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. And I just wrote down all the ideas I had on this phone, which I am currently reading off of right now as I record this commentary. I don't know if it's typical for YouTubers to have an internal monologue in their head that is literally a YouTube video, but isn't it kind of ironic? Because there were literally 10 people at this party. It wasn't even that many people, it's just the fact that I didn't know them. But it's for some reason I was terrified of these 10 people in real life that I didn't know, but in my head I turned to a much larger audience to try to escape from the smaller audience that I was afraid of talking to. And it's not I know the larger audience any better. A lot of people are listening to this, but I don't exactly know most of you. Now granted, most of the people I know in real life are going to be watching this, so hey guys, but the majority of you I don't have a personal friendship or relationship with. But for some reason the YouTube commentary in my head was a lot more comfortable at that moment, so whatever works to avoid the social anxiety. And I just wanted to thank you guys for listening to my one-way conversation, because this is actually pretty therapeutic right now. But also, if you look at it from another angle, I'm also a theater kid, so that means I literally perform in front of a physical audience as well, and that doesn't really make me nervous either. It used to when I started doing it, but I've been in 5 plays now. It doesn't really make me nervous anymore. I'm just used to it. So you'd think that theater would be different, but first of all, when I act on a stage, I'm playing a different character. I'm not playing myself. And second of all, when you're on the stage, you can't even see anyone, especially when I take off my glasses. If I happen to glance at the audience, it's just a big blur. I can't see anyone. I don't know who's watching me. It doesn't matter. The whole world is on the stage. And also, I have a script. So like when I'm acting, all I have to do is just follow the script and we're good. It's literally like social interaction, but there's no uncertainty. The play is just a well-oiled machine. Everyone's rehearsed it so many times. We all know what to do. We're all saying the same things, and it's not really us. So literally like acting in a play for me can sometimes be more comfortable than like having a normal conversation with a large group of people. Unless, you know, I somehow forget my lines or I'm not paying attention and I like completely mess up in front of everyone, which has actually happened to me once. And if you asked me if I was going to keep going on this tangent and tell the whole embarrassing theater story, you'd be completely right. And because this is pretty much a one-way conversation right now, no one can object to my tangents, so here goes. So this took place in the third play that I was in, which was a Shakespeare play called As You Like It. And, you know, we had to cut it down because, you know, Shakespeare plays would take like 3 hours if you didn't cut it down. So we'd cut it down to about an hour. And also we'd only had like 3 weeks to prepare for this one. So, you know, it was not as rehearsed as the other plays that I've been in. I was playing a character named Silvius, and to summarize Silvius in 3 words, he was a love-struck idiot farmer. And honestly, he was really fun to play. However, in addition to the role of Silvius, I also had the hardest role I've ever played in theater, and that was a tree. So most of this play took place in the Forest of Arden, and we didn't have enough time to make set pieces because we literally had 3 weeks to put this thing on. So the actors who weren't in the scenes had to play the trees. So that meant we had to just stand there with our arms stretched out, you know, like branches, and, you know, we're trees, so we can't move. So it's like after 5 minutes, all the blood flow just like leaves my arms and I'm just standing there trying to be an emotionless tree. But like, oh my gosh, like could we have not had some cardboard trees in this play? But you know, it's completely understandable. There wasn't enough time to make that many trees. So, you know, I was standing there waiting for my cue, and I was very focused on trying to be a tree because, you know, it took all of my focus to not just like collapse on the spot right there. And before I knew it, my cue line was said, and I was still standing as a tree. I was not mentally prepared for this at all. So quickly I realized that I was supposed to actually be acting and not, you know, tree acting. But as I was about to walk onto the stage and say my lines, I remembered that my character was supposed to enter carrying a letter at this point, and I did not actually have any props that could even remotely resemble a letter. So I started freaking out. However, luckily this was a romance play, and one of the other characters had actually put a bunch of like love notes on all the trees. So I just grabbed one from the guy standing next to me and pretended that that was a letter. And, you know, obviously it wasn't, but like, what was I supposed to do? So at that point, I was already panicking. The 2 people on stage at that point were just sort of waiting for me to come out, and there was kind of a lull as they were waiting. So I go up to one of them, and, you know, I'm standing in front of her, and I realize, like, oh shoot, I'm not supposed to deliver the letter to this person. I'm supposed to deliver it to the other person. So I turned around, walked back to the other person, because, you know, I'd walked past the other person, and gave her the letter and started saying my lines. And now, like, admittedly, it wasn't, like, that bad, but, like, in my head, it was like, oh no, I've ruined the play. What am I ever gonna do? I can never act again. This moment of shame will follow me forever. And I was kind of freaking out for the rest of the play, and, you know, I started saying it to people, and of course, like, the people who were in the play knew that I had messed up, but we were all friends, we're good. But anyone in the audience who I talked to about it, like, hadn't even realized that it wasn't part of the play. It's like, what the heck? Wasn't that really obvious? Like, no. Like, it looked like it was just my character being awkward, and, you know, Silvius is kind of an awkward character, you know, not very educated. Maybe that's something he would have done. So, you know, yeah, I kind of got away with it, and basically no one even remembers that. So cool. And, you know, that kind of makes me think about, like, all the other embarrassing social fails that I've had in my life. You know, they're really big in my brain. Like, I remember random embarrassing things I did in 2nd grade, and it's like, oh gosh, how am I ever going to live that down? But, you know, does anyone else actually remember that? Like, no, that was in 2nd grade. It's like in the mind of a person with social anxiety, that event, like, you can never live it down. But no one really even remembers it besides you. So yes, I went to this party. I was really awkward and I didn't really talk to a lot of people, but I came up with an excellent video idea while I was there, and here I am recording it a couple of days later. So hopefully you guys appreciate this. Also, I just wanted to give a shout out to Esther for putting up with my social anxiety at that party. It's probably not the last time that's gonna happen, to be honest. But that's alright. If I'm uncomfortable in social situations now, I definitely used to be a lot worse earlier in my life. So at least I've improved, and at least I'm still trying to improve. But yeah, that was my party experience, and that was my theater experience, and that was a lot of random tangents. I don't even remember what I said in this video mostly, but thank you so much for watching, and once again, follow your dreams.